Hello and welcome to video 1 of the Bring Your Creative Dreams to Life video series. My name is Kelsey and I'm so grateful and excited to be on this journey with you, taking the stuff that we love and want to make or create or experience and bringing it to life in our lives. So it's going to be awesome. You're going to have homework and I'm really excited. Okay, so here in video 1, we're going to talk about creative dreams for a second. What is a creative dream? Creative dream is something that you want to make or experience that tugs on your heart. So I know it's kind of vague, like flowery, wishy-washy language, but think about it can be big or small. So maybe you want to write a book, or maybe you want to learn how to make Thai food, or maybe you want to decorate a picture frame for your child's room. Like, there's various types of creative dreams and there's various lengths of time that it's going to take to create each one, right? Like, writing a screenplay for a feature film is probably a different level of time involved than writing one blog post. Okay, so, and that's fine, and there's just different sizes and levels, so they can come in all different forms. It could be traveling related, it could be helping the world, starting a nonprofit, volunteering, it could be art related, making paintings, taking the jewelry you're already making and then selling it, right? My aunt's creative dream is making candles is one of them. Like, anything can be a creative dream. It doesn't necessarily have to be what you would define as art, although I think all of it's kind of artistic at its core. So unfortunately, we live in a society that often shares the message that the stuff we're drawn to do is not worth pursuing. So dabbling, exploring, taking time to do something that has nothing to do with your career path, that has nothing to do with what is socially acceptable, is not always seen in the best light. A lot of people, especially a lot of my clients, we start to feel guilty for taking time to do things that we want to do. If it's not something that actively makes money, there's this sense of like, well, why should I even bother with that? Kids in high school, if you ask them what stuff they love, so often we sort of screw up their process because we ask them things like, so what are you going to do with that exactly? Basically crushing a little creative dream while it's still a bud. So in this series and in my work in general, we're going to kind of step away from the whole idea of what are you going to do with it, what's the point, and we're really going to take ownership that the point of bringing our creative dreams to life, yes, it can be money. Yes, it can be fame and influence if that's what we want. Yes, it can be changing the world. It can be a number of things. And at its core, it's about loving ourselves and caring enough about ourselves to be in our own corner and trust that the dreams that were given to us for a reason, and that we are worth taking the time to pursue, to take care of. Those dreams are ours. If our friend wanted to bring something to life, if our friend has a cool business idea or artistic idea or something, we are usually the first in their corner to say, yes, do it, I'll read your book, I'll come to your play, I'll do it, come, you should do it. When it's us, we think of every reason why we can't do it. And I want you to start thinking about yourself as your own best friend. Give a crap about yourself to really follow what is inside of you, or even take the time to even know what it is that you're interested in doing. Our creative dreams can change over time, and that's totally okay. When I was 3 years old, my parents moved into a new house, and our street was under construction, and my creative dream was to be a construction worker. I loved it. There was one woman construction worker, and I would watch her out the window every day. Well, I didn't end up following that construction worker dream, although I did kind of work in green buildings for a while, so I got close. But that's okay. Like, I don't want to do that anymore, and it's fine. And maybe there's some old dreams that you used to have that you don't want anymore, but for some reason you're still following them, or you feel like you should be doing them. It is safe to let those go. It is safe to meet yourself in the present moment and forgive whatever you haven't done yet and say, what do I actually want right now? Not what I wanted 10 years ago. What do I want? What actually excites me? Not just a to-do list to check off. What would actually bring my life a little more color, a little more joy? What would I enjoy spending time on? These are the questions to be asking. Your dreams are not frivolous at all. I think I already covered that, but I just want to make that really clear before we move into the rest of the series. Bring them to life. The person you become in the process is the dream, is the goal, is the work. Moving from a place of, oh, I have all these ideas, or I've always wanted to do X. Moving from that version of yourself, who is amazing and lovable, but isn't taking action. Moving from that version of yourself to a version of yourself who believes and tries and puts themselves out there and fails sometimes publicly fails, but is at least creating momentum and churning forward. The version of you become, the things you learn, the way you learn to stand in your own corner again, that inner strength that comes from following a creative dream, that's the work. That's the work and that's the goal. And standing at the end, if you end up finishing it, having a finished product at the end to be really proud of and say, wow, I'm the kind of person who follows through. I'm the kind of person who doesn't just say I want to do things, I do them. That's available to you. It doesn't matter if you've sort of been like hovering around. I've spent years, there have been dreams of mine that I've wanted for a long time. Writing a book was one for me. I wanted to do that for years and years. I never moved forward at all. I never even tried. You need to forgive that piece of yourself that hasn't moved forward. And once you forgive that piece of yourself, then yes, moving forward becomes easier because you're letting go of all that old baggage and self-hatred that kept you stagnant in the first place. So whatever your creative dream is, you have two main jobs. One is to declutter the beliefs, conditioning, expectations around those dreams. I kind of discussed that a minute ago. The belief that you can't do it. The belief that it's selfish, that no one will get it, that everyone else has already done it, that yours just isn't going to be good enough. The belief that we're not inherently worth exploring and following our dreams. The belief that our families and friends will hate it and we'll end up alone. I mean, there's a lot of beliefs and conditioning that go into why we stay stagnant. So our first job is to declutter those things. We're not going to declutter them perfectly. It's always an adventure. It's always evolving. So don't think you have to like declutter everything before taking action. Because that's the other step, is taking action, taking small action, taking forward action. Sometimes these big dreams we have can be really overwhelming. If we go back to the writing a book example, if we haven't written anything ever, the idea of writing a book feels so far away that we're not really a vibrational match to that. And so what starts is taking action. What starts in that case would be writing something. What starts would be seeing ourselves as someone who's capable of writing things. That's kind of how every dream goes, whether it's writing a book or doing something completely different. So those are your two things, decluttering and taking action. So in the course of this video series and any other work really that I teach, those are the things that we really, really work on. So let's say you're really multi-passionate. I'm a dabbler. I love so many things and it has stressed me out like crazy over the years. Let's say you have a million different things you want to do or try in this lifetime or experience. Like maybe you want to act in a movie and maybe you also want to try scuba diving and you also want to try making candles, we kind of mentioned that one, and you also want to write a book or maybe start a business, but also like be in your life and be present for your family and your friends. Well, let's say you have all these different things, so it's like really hard to start on one because it starts to feel like if I follow one, I let go of the others. And that's just an example of our conditioning that we've been trained to believe, and I'm telling you that isn't true. If you're a multi-passionate person like me, here's how I have been able to work around that. It is totally okay, but when we're buried underneath all of our passions and dreams, we're not actually helping ourselves or helping the world. Staying buried won't help us. What I have found to be helpful is, first of all, writing down, and this is part of the homework that's going to be underneath the video, figuring out what is like the broad scope of creative dreams that I'm interested in pursuing right now in this moment. Like, what am I feeling like? What are some cool things that I want to bring to life? And figuring that out, and that's part of your homework, but also, secondarily, picking one to work on for now. That's the key part of it. You're picking something, one project, let's say you want to start a podcast. Okay, so that podcast is going to be your project for the next, I typically say 4 to 6 months, because beyond that you can make a choice if you want to keep doing it or move on to something else. But I feel like if you can pick one thing that you can stay excited about and focused on for like 4 to 6 months, something that you want badly enough that you're gonna stay the course when you experience self-doubt, when you experience a feeling like you don't have enough time to do it, when you experience all those things, something that you care enough about that you're not just gonna throw it away immediately. Okay? So that dream, let's say you're focusing on it for 4 to 6 months. It may not come completely to life in those 4 to 6 months. Some dreams take longer. Like some dreams, like let's say you wanted to open a yoga studio, that might take more than 4 to 6 months from the initial conception to actually opening. Like that might take longer, and that's okay, but we're still gonna use that 4 to 6 month time frame as far as something that you wanna like get started, get momentum on, get going. Because once you move from this feeling like stagnant to moving forward, that's when the miracles start unfolding around you. That's when opportunities come in your inbox that you wouldn't have predicted before. That's when everything starts moving, but it's because you moved first. It's because you showed up for yourself in small ways and you cleared out those old beliefs that you couldn't do it, that it wasn't worth it. Okay. Oh, one more thing for my multi-passionate people is that you actually get to do everything, and the fact that you're focusing on this, don't twist it into some guilt trip around yourself. One of the highest ways I feel like multi-passionate people self-sabotage is we'll start something briefly and then it gets scary or it gets hard or we don't know what to do or like we're just really scared and feel alone, and then we go, it's okay, I'm not gonna do this anyway, I'm gonna go do this other thing instead. And we kind of flitter around from thing to thing to thing. We start a lot of stuff but don't finish. And I don't think that's a bad way to be. I am that way, but if your focus is on completing something, is on, hey, I'm gonna bring this thing to life, which is the name of the series of my videos, I'm really, really suggesting picking one that you can focus on for now, and then let life surprise you going forward. So you have some homework beneath the video around the topic of sort of sifting through creative dreams from the past and present and figuring out like one to focus on both for the end of the video series and for the next few months of your life. So you can comment below on my blog for any questions, any thoughts. If you want to share your creative dreams, you're welcome to. I'll be in there commenting, and feel free to comment on anyone else's stuff if you feel called. We're really all in this together, and I'm excited to see what you all create. All right, I'll see you next time for video 2.